Alright, so if you're watching this video right now, you might be in this similar situation to one that I was in a little bit ago, where you're trying to get NDVI data and you're for whatever machine learning project that you're working on, or environmental science project, and you have had trouble working with Google Earth Engine and can't quite figure out how to get the data off of Google Earth Engine and onto your computer. I will say there are videos out there that show how to calculate NDVI from other image collections than the one that I'm going to use. But the image collection one that I'm going to use actually already has NDVI calculated for you, so I'm not going to go through the calculations. So you might not want to watch this video if you're looking for a calculation. This is just how to find the data and how to download it. This is using the Landsat dataset, or Landsat dataset, which is a well-known dataset for vegetation and NDVI. Basically, all you have to do on Google Earth Engine is look up Landsat NDVI, and I use the 8.1 NDVI composite. From here, the first it'll if you click that, and then here I'll go through the motions again. But you can click that and then click import. I won't click it now because I already have it imported. It'll automatically come up with this. It will name it image collection, but I chose to rename it as dataset, just because it was easier for me to think about that way. And yeah, then the next step that you can do is filter your image collection, filter your dataset to whatever amount of time you want to be looking at the NDVI for. So there's lots of different ways to choose the NDVI you're looking for. Some people recommend doing it on the least cloudy day, but in this video, what we're just going to do is take the average NDVI over an entire year. The year that I'm looking at is 2016. So we're going to just get all of the data from 2016 if you follow what this video is doing. Okay, next you can extract NDVI specifically from the dataset because it's an image collection, and you might want to just be looking at NDVI instead of everything else in the image collection. And the next step is, because we have multiple different NDVIs over many different days, or a very long period of time, we want to get the mean of this. So using this code right here, you can actually reduce the NDVI that we have to a single image of the mean of the NDVIs over the entire time period that we're looking at. And then next, I'm specifically looking for NDVI data in California. So I made a little geometry around the state of California right here that you can look at. And this basically what this line of code is doing is just making sure that when I eventually download this data, I'll only be downloading in the California region that I'm interested in. But also, I take care of this later because I also specify that that's the geometric region that I want. So this line is actually unnecessary, but I just have that there from earlier. But anyways, I'm gonna reset this. Hopefully, if you have just these first 3 lines or 4 lines that I have here, and then your data set uploaded, and I'm gonna pull this down so that you can look at them all at once. That's it. It's not many lines at all. If you run that, it'll take a second, but it'll add the layers, and you should be able to see a visualization of NDVI across a very large area. So it takes a while to upload the layers, and actually I don't want to wait for it right now. But yeah, that's basically how you get your NDVI data. And the only next step is to download it. So in this step right here, we turned it into an image instead of an image collection by reducing it. And so now we can download this as a GeoTIFF file, or and or whatever file you might want to. You might be interested in like a shape file or something like that. But if you look back on some of my previous videos I posted, I made a video on how to convert GeoTIFF files into Pandas data frames, so you might find that useful if you are interested in uploading this data into Python later and using that to do your analysis. So I don't want to actually go through the process of putting this back on my Google Drive. But basically, in order to export the data to Google Drive, you can just do export image to drive, then specify the image that you want to export, which we have right here is NDVI. Your description will be whatever you want it to be. You can scale it. So this is basically, the scale describes the number of meters per pixel. So it's basically the resolution. You might not want this to be, I think it automatically sets it to 30, but you might not need it to be that small. So for whatever purpose, you can set that for whatever you want. And if you have a big region, you might have to change the max pixels. I think it automatically sets it to like something like 1,000,000 or something like that, but you might have a lot more space than that that you want to like get information from. So you might have to raise this value if you want to download a very large amount of data. And then region is whatever region you're interested in. This is definitely optional, but I was interested in this geometry that I said earlier, which is California. So I'm just going to run this just to show you what will happen next. Basically, it'll pop over right here um, with your image that you are exporting to your Google Drive, and it'll automatically export to the Google Drive that you're using for this Google account. And if you run that, it should work out well. So please leave any comments if you have any additional questions, but I hope you guys have an easy time working with your NDVI data.